Happening now at 6. We want to start with that breaking news out of Independence, Missouri.
This afternoon, 4 people were shot at the Independence Center Mall. Police say 1 is in critical condition and 3 persons of interest are in custody.
I looked up, I heard like a scream or two. I saw people running, I saw people taking cover.
That was actually my first thought was my mom. I called her first before anybody and was like, hey, I'm alive, just so you know. I didn't want her to hear it from someone else and be worried.
Just a terrifying situation. And tonight we have team coverage to get you up to speed on the latest from police and what we are learning from witnesses.
First up, we want to start with KSHB 41 News reporter Grant Stevens. Grant, what have you learned so far this evening?
Caitlin, Cameron, let's go over all the details real quick first. Like you mentioned, there were 4 people who were shot here, 1 in critical. And I've also heard from police that the other people that were shot, their conditions range from non-life threatening to one of them that they described as serious. So there were a lot of injuries involved in this. This again started around 2:20 this afternoon. Police told us earlier it started with 2 groups of people who both entered the mall, had some sort of altercation, and then shots rang out, which of course terrified everyone in the mall. We spoke to a couple people who were actually inside at the time when the shots started ringing out above them. They were down in the food court. The shots they heard were coming from upstairs, closer to the entrance, that north side entrance where we're standing right in front of. Here's what Nick Stevens and his brother had to say.
It's Friday, so you know everybody was in there. It was busy.
Yeah.
And it's you know when like people try to exit the building, it's like everybody try to get out at the same time. And, you know, it's like my first instinct was to get out of there, but like as soon as I saw people like needed like help, it was just like, yeah, I gotta help these people, you know.
You heard him right there at the end mention that he and his brother were helping folks get out of the mall. They described just pandemonium. When people heard the shots, at first they didn't know how to react, but eventually they realized what was going on and everyone started bolting for the doors. They were some of the people that helped get some people out. Now, we also asked police about the substation that's here at the mall. They say actually no one was in it today because they're observing Veterans Day, but there was another officer inside the mall who was the first to respond just a couple minutes after that call came in. We're still gathering details. We'll have more for you later this evening. Live at the Independence Mall, Grant Stevens, KSHB 41 News.
Yeah, we can only imagine the chaos there, Grant, and hats off to those young men for trying to help some bystanders who are understandably alarmed. Now we want to bring in KSHB 41 News reporter Megan Abundis. And Megan, I understand you've spoken to some witnesses as well. What did they have to share with you?
Well, we're on the west side of the mall, and we did speak with some employees at these big box stores behind us, and they are open for business. They've just closed off their interior access that meets up with the mall. So we've seen people come and go with their shopping bags, but we spoke with one man who works inside the mall at a custom t-shirt business, and he heard the gunfire.
People ran into our store before we closed and locked the doors, and I actually locked the door. I walked up there and kind of looked out and locked the door. Like, I wasn't afraid. Like, I actually feel safer in the mall than most places. And later, I heard my boss said that he's been through like 7 shootings over the years, and one of my coworkers said he been through one shooting before, and this was the second time they had a shooting. So there's definitely, some troubles going on, or maybe just spilling over.
We heard about 4 or 5 big bangs and we kind of looked at each other like, is that what I think it is? And then I was like, no, it can't be that. And then I saw people running and gates closing, so we're like, oh, okay, it is that. And we closed the gates and went to the back of the store, locked everything up, and just waited for updates as they came.
Earlier, we were at the reunification center. That's at a nearby car wash, and that was empty. We've seen traffic pick up along Independence Center Drive, and things appear to be getting back to normal here. In Independence, I'm Megan Abundis, KSHB 41 News.
Megan, thank you. So in a statement that was just released about 40 minutes ago, the city of Independence did say, quote, "This act of violence in our community saddens us. The safety of our citizens and visitors is always our top priority. We want to thank our first responders for their quick actions."
It goes on to say, we have many questions just like all of you, but now we would like to focus our energy on those injured and impacted by this event.
And we were talking about this in the newsroom, Cameron. This is not the first time, unfortunately, we've seen violence at the Independence Center Mall.
So I did some research and found out, including today, there have been 4 shooting incidents at the mall since 2020. On New Year's Eve in 2020, a 16-year-old boy was shot in the leg inside the mall. Police say a fight between two groups of people led to that shooting. Just a few days later, one person was shot in the head outside the mall. That person did survive. Now, the shooting happened in the mall's parking lot between people in two vehicles. And then you might remember this from September of last year. 3 shots were fired in a common area inside the mall. That led to the mall going into lockdown, clearing the mall one store at a time. Now, after the incidents in 2020 and 2021, the mall and city set curfews in the mall and the area around it. Anyone 17 or younger was required to be with a parent or legal guardian after 3 p.m. We are working to find out if that curfew is still in effect.